Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hey, listen, we are a little more than a week out from Valentine's.
Can you believe it?
Oh no.
Whoa. Exactly.
Come on, Chris.
That's why I mentioned it. So make plans accordingly in the next week. And with that in mind, we want to know what are some of your best relationship advice, that sort of thing. Because the new study is debunking some popular myths out there about love.
So first of all, you know, everyone talks about your love language. What's your love language? Evidently, this study says there's no such thing as a love language. The study found of the 5 love languages, people just don't fall into one category. Haven't you read the book?
Okay,
The 5?
I was going to say, I take issue with this, but go ahead. I'll take issue with that.
Here, I'm trying to Google
I thought there were 7.
Larry's, or what the love languages are.
One's gifts, one's gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch.
Oh, Ben, you just know them all. Acts of service, gift giving.
Yeah.
That's all, right? So anyway, everybody's usually a little bit of everything.
You just speak French.
All right. Next up is the idea of happy wife, happy life.
Yep.
Yeah,
No shock there, but the research found overwhelming evidence that both spouses need to be happy for the relationship to succeed,
Good
obviously.
idea.
And so this morning we want to know, what is the key to a happy relationship? If you've been married for a while, hey, comment how long you've been married and what your advice is. Larry, let's start with you. You said happy wife, happy life, though. You did say happy wife, happy life this morning, though, which isn't always a bad thing.
I mean, as
the wife.
I always talk to these people who've been married like 75 years.
Yeah.
And they ask the guy, he goes, I just do what she said.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's the answer.
Yeah. My grandmother.
If you do that on a regular basis,
then
it's a lot better.
It's a lot better, right?
Yeah. It's just easier.
Yeah.
It's harmonious.
Harmonious.
I would say talk to one another. A lot of times and this kind of goes with any friendship, relationship, that you can oftentimes just kind of hide the things that bother you about another person. And I'm not saying go out and say something super mean to them, but just being able to talk things out instead of holding everything inside, I think really makes a healthy relationship.
That's a good point. And the other thing, is my mic not on? It sounds like
it is.
I think it is.
It's been on, but it sounds like I'm on. And that's something I'm talking to myself, is learn to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You talk to listen. And remember what they say to you. And do what they say.
And like acknowledge it too.
Yes.
Not sometimes you just need to acknowledge. You don't need to fix or address or
problem solve.
You just need to acknowledge. I know. No, it's I've had to learn that myself.
My grandma always said God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We need to listen twice as much as we talk. Melissa chiming in. Well, don't listen to me. Married for 5.5 years. 3rd marriage. Well, Melissa, those
Third
things
time's
happen.
the charm.
There you go.
There it is.
That is right.
Way to go.
3rd
That's
time's
it.
the charm.
Practice makes perfect.
I do remember talking to my grandmother. She was married 67 years.
Oh, wow.
And I had
To the same man.
To the same man.
Yeah,
Yep. And I had a friend that was going through a divorce, and they had told me something like, oh, they lost the butterflies or something. And my grandmother just like shook her head and was like, losing the butterflies, that's like
Butterflies ain't love.
Yeah, you are committing to this relationship, and you're going to have ups and downs, and it's learning to love another person through those different phases of life. And you know, when you say your vows, you're committing to that. And so anyway, that was good advice for her, that when you get married, it's not going to be like the movies and butterflies, you know, for 67 years through kids and everything.
Yeah.
It's reality.
Yeah.
It's work is what it is.
Yes,
I think
it is work.
What people don't realize, as the unmarried one of the group.
But you had your parents, right?
Yeah, my parents are married.
4 kids.
Are married. 4 kids. 30 years.
Amazing.
Exactly. I mean, to watch them, love is a verb. Love is a verb, and you have to get up and you have to show up every single day.
Yeah.
And I think people.
It's a verb, a noun, an adjective, a pronoun.
All that.
More.
Anything but a feeling. Love is certainly, if there's one thing I've learned from watching my parents, love is not a feeling. It's an active commitment.
Yeah,
and you have to show
totally.
up every day.
Yeah.
It is the most unselfish thing you'll ever do is get married.
I agree, because it's like a mirror, and like here is all your flaws. You have to, and that's going back to the happy wife, happy life thing. It's not one person or the other. It's meeting in the middle and compromising and learning to give of yourself to
Happy spouse, happy
somebody else.
house.
Yeah.
I remember before you got married.
I'm just taking it all in because
I feel like before you got married, you were doing
we did couples counseling. Yeah.
Couples counseling, which I feel like everyone should do because people come from different families and they have different expectations of what should happen or whose role is what. But I feel like when you're going through that, you're coming to work every day with like great advice.
Literally Brad first said like years ago, he's like, before we ever get married, we have to do premarital counseling. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then we go to get married, and he's like, okay, well, let's do the counseling. One of the best things we ever did. Yeah. I mean, so many nuggets. I have like an actual like note in my phone.
Good. I was going to say, I hope you didn't forget all those things.
All the nuggets.
Because I forgot what you told me.
They were, and honestly, they're not coming to my mind right now, except for like acknowledging people, their problem. Don't try to fix it necessarily.
Yeah.
I remember that. So many good nuggets. I think for me, it's just a very, take love out of the equation. It's a very practical view of it, as in, okay, this is their person. This is the person you chose, for better or worse.
That's in the vows.
You are tied to them in every way possible. It is in your best interest for them to succeed.
Yeah.
And for them to do well. And then for them to be happy. And for them to feel free expressing themselves.
Yeah.
That it will only sabotage you. Honestly, it will only sabotage you if that person is unhappy, or if that person feels unfulfilled, or if that person feels not heard to, or not listened to, or it's not a business dealing per se, but it kind of is.
No, it is.
Like,
partnership.
Like you have to make sure that other person is.
It's an ongoing project.
Yeah.
Yeah, always.
That
It's
never
a
ends.
building that's never completely built, but you keep adding to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a question though, especially since JT is coming up on 1?
Well, he's 1.5 now.
1.5.
So he's coming up on 2.
Okay, coming up on
time
2.
flies. I get it. No, understandable.
But I mean, how do marriages change as soon as you introduce kids to the mix?
It's a huge boulder in the water.
Oh.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I can say that freely is because you're pretty much taking all of your commitment to one another and focusing in on one. And what I thought was really interesting is about being a dad is that you do find yourself with that bond between the mother and the son or daughter, that you are kind of that third party there. But then that's your responsibility to kind of step up. And I think that it's one of those things that you have such a big change. Kim and I are now starting to become stronger again just because we're trying to figure out ourselves. Because I'm different than I was 2 years ago since I became a dad. Because my priorities have changed. Just my heart has changed. So I think that that's also a thing in a relationship is that you change as this evolves, that you kind of have to figure out the changes of yourself, changes of your spouse, and that's how you have the best
What if you
relationship.
have about 3 or 4 more kids? Not that I can
No,
say
not that. You bring those numbers way down.
It's just a question off of that, because I, as a person who doesn't have kids and I don't plan to, I've seen my siblings and my in-laws and friends go through having kids, and from an admittedly naive point of view, and as a person who don't have kids, I sometimes objectively look at it and be like, hey, you guys are focused way too much on your kids and not on each other. And you're losing yourself, you're losing your marriage, like not necessarily getting divorced, but like you're forgetting. And then the reason I bring this up, there was an expert yesterday on the Today Show, and he was talking about making sure you're filling each other's glasses as a husband and wife, and then it will necessarily flow on down to the kids. And just again, as an observer, I've seen that before, and I'm like, hey, marriage, your marriage should be like number one, and then kids will necessarily be the benefactors of that.
Well, I think we've done stories too on. You see this divorce rate of people who become empty nesters because they are pouring so much into the kids that's their life, and then when their kids leave, they're like,
who is this?
do I like this person still?
And it's such a shame to me, because I'm like, you guys got together because you loved each other, and you just lost each other along the way because you made the kids such a priority.
Yeah, it is important to try to do, even though I'm preaching to the choir, because we are so bad about doing date nights and stuff like that, and we go on vacations with the kids and family, and I know friends that once a year try to go off, together, and we don't do that, but I think it is important to try to keep that open communication, because kids do change every year.
I think you kind of forget almost like who you were before and what you had, just because it's such tunnel vision on that kid, and especially early on, it was like, I don't want to mess this up. So you're almost just two individuals doing this, but then as JT is just getting older, we're able to share the moments of laughing and doing more things together. But no, Great advice. Like, like hopefully this Valentine's Day we'll be able to, Kim and I will be able to go out. It's just even something as simple as a couple of hours together.
Oh, totally.
On your
Yeah.
own.
Well, yeah,
Thanks, very
Ben
important.
said he'd be glad to babysit.
Thank you so much.
Good. Can I bring my kids too?
Everybody can drop it off.
Thank you, Ben. What a nice guy. Look at that.
Uncle Ben.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. Oh, okay, that's the end of our show.
By the way, I do want to say, I don't necessarily agree with the study about love languages. I do think people have different love languages.
Yes.
It's funny. I was going to say the same thing.
And I do think it's important to understand what your partner prefers.
Yes.
Like for me, I like physical touch. It doesn't have to be anything necessarily sexual. Just being able to
Hold
have a person
hands or
hold hands or
something.
touch or something, and quality time is important to me.
Yeah.
Where acts of service, Brad really gets into. So
Yeah.
if I do a chore around the house, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, why? That's like who cares? But to him, that's like
Yeah.
that's
That's
a
true.
huge profession of love. So I just
I
want to
agree.
say that.
Even when you do the quiz on the love language one,
Yeah.
it will say like you're 80%
Yeah.
this.
Everybody's a
you're
little bit of
10%.
everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's a little thing.
I just
So-
took the quiz recently because Kim and I were talking about this.
What were you-
Mine's quality time, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality time. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
What's Kim's?
Kim's is, what are they again?
No.
She has not.
You failed the test.
Okay, but in fact, she hasn't taken the full quiz like I did. She just kind of thought that maybe she was quality time, maybe gift giving, and all of 5 of them. Hell! Okay, get me out of here. This is why we don't go past 10 minutes.
I love it. I love it. Happy Valentine's.
Yeah.
All right,
you, Kim.
folks. Simon, let us know any advice you have, and we'll see you
We
back
need
here
it,
tomorrow.
obviously.
Bye, guys.